What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Ducati Biker channel. If you're new here, the goal of this channel is just to spread the love and joy of riding Ducati motorcycles. And how we do that, and when I say we do that, we are all Ducati bikers, is by riding Ducati motorcycles, collaborating with your local Ducati owners groups, and then visiting your local Ducati dealerships nationwide or worldwide to just spread the love and joy of Ducati motorcycles. That has always been my thing. It's evolved. It's just been such an amazing and crazy journey with you all. The topic of this video, as you guys can see, I got my Pikes Peak in the back. I'm on the road to California, is why I decided to trade in my Pikes Peak for the new 2025 Panigale V4S. Huge and big changes. For most of you who've been following my content for the past, I would say 5 or 7 years, you know I did a lot of hypermotard riding and sport touring in Europe. That evolved to getting the Pikes Peak in the United States because I'm just like a supermoto hyper guy. I like the upright dirt bike riding position. And for most of you might be like, why are you going towards a sports bike? And for most of you who didn't know, before all this social media and marketing stuff actually took off, I started off on sport bikes. I always started off on dirt bikes, but my first street bikes were the Ducati 848 Evo, which I had, and then that went into the 899 Panigale, and then I got rid of that and then moved to Europe and then went kind of back in the supermoto scene. Either way, other than going down a big rabbit hole of my bikes and previous history, I just have so much to say on why I'm making this choice and this decision and why my Pikes Peak is literally in the back of the truck on the way to California right now, because I'm going to trade it out for the new V4S with the guys at Pro Italia. Thank you very much. And 2024 was a crazy, crazy year. I mean, I know every year gets bigger, better, stronger, crazier, and everything just gets more amped up or more evolved. And so I just want to go down a little bit of my highlights of 2024, which is pretty much leading me and led me to this decision on getting the new Panigale V4S. So long story short, there's a lot of things I want to say about the Pikes Peak. The reason I bought it is because I thought it was, the ultimate race version of the Multistrada, which it was at its time until they developed the RS. It has the Desmosterici motor, which is the motor that is in the V4 Street Fighter that they put into pretty much a Pikes Peak body with more carbon bits and more titanium and just better riding features. That bike is pretty expensive, and the whole goal was to trade this Pikes Peak in for the RS. But the reason that didn't happen is in May of 2024, I went out to Newport Beach to buy my Ducati Hypermotard 698 Mono. And the reason I bought the 698 Mono, I just don't want this to get too wiggly, was because I was racing the AMA Supermoto under contract with OnlyFans to bring more brand awareness to the AMA Supermoto Racing Series, and also the new Hypermotard 698 Mono, which I think was fabulous. In April of 2024, when I brought my Pikes Peak out there, we rode with Josh Heron. We did a bunch of the cool California roads and the canyons. The footage is all over YouTube, and in my channel, you guys could see it. Long story short, my motor on this Pikes Peak blew up. A piston failed, just completely, boom, exploded, popped right out of there. When I was in California. And for me, that was, I own Ducati motorcycles for the past 5 years have just been my main source and means of transportation. I don't have a car or a vehicle or something else. Sorry, I just want to make sure that this is stable and the camera's not moving too much. So that being said, the motor blew at Newport Beach. I had to go to Europe at the time because I was going to collaborate with Ducati dealerships and go to World Ducati Week. So I had to leave my bike in the United States while this one was getting serviced. Obviously, it was under investigation. the bike had to stay at the dealership for months before they made a decision. So when I was in Europe, I was supposed to go to World Ducati Week and didn't, which I could explain why. It's no secret at this point. I got news, so I go like back and forth a lot between what was happening between the months of April till now. When I was in Newport Beach in April and the motor blew, at the same time I got an email from marketing at Ducati saying, hey, we see that you're an OnlyFans athlete, but we do not want to be associated with the brand, so therefore we don't endorse you as an ambassador anymore, which like really broke my heart. So a lot of people know me as having the Ducati biker badge and me sharing the love and joy of riding Ducati motorcycles, and they said we respectively ask you not to infringe on our brand and use our logo and our font and our trademark, so please change your name if you're going to be an OnlyFans ambassador. Or sponsored athlete, which I am. I ride and race mountain bikes and motorcycles for OnlyFans because I have a contract with them and they endorse my clean organic content that I do all over and all my other socials, and that's just what OnlyFans wants to transition to now, is to be more of a sports platform versus just adult content. But Mother Volkswagen and Ducati and their whole marketing team said we just don't want to be seen and associated with that, therefore we don't want to be associated with you. So I lost that, like, in a sense, essentially what I called like the love of the brand and being able to work with everyone. They said we can't anymore. And so when I was in Europe, I was wanting to go to World Ducati Week, and they said, we will not grant you access or permission to go to these events and give you press bikes and do all the things like you like to do, share the love of Ducati bike anymore, because you're an OnlyFans athlete. So for me, I was like super scared because I was going through this transition of marketing with Ducati, but then also my bike blew up. But luckily, those are two different departments, and Ducati North America did a fantastic job by sending me a crate motor, which took 3 days from Italy to bring to the United States during World Ducati Week. So I was in Europe, and I was like, okay, I can't go to World Ducati Week. I got to come back to the United States. I worked on different brands and sponsors out there in Europe, such as Held, to get sponsored, to get gear, to race the AMA Supermoto on my new Hyper. And I know you guys are like, what is he talking about? What does this have to do with the Panigale? And I'm getting to that in a second. I was just trying to facilitate all my marketing and brand and sponsorships to make the AMA Supermoto scene bigger, better, and just to keep being a motorcycle journalist and sponsored athlete. I get back to the United States. They had just finished my motor. They're like, here you go, the bike is done. You could come pick it up. And for me, I said, okay, I'm on my way. But I was just still riding my Ducati Hypermotard and training with it. And I wrapped it with the OnlyFans graphics. And I was getting all that going. And during that time, the first 2 weeks, I get back to the United States. Just getting settled in, done with the jet lag. I get into the worst motorcycle accident in my life with my Hyper. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen this. I didn't really make a YouTube video about it, but I'm going to put the clip right here. I'm just cruising through town, and I always wear my gear. Like, I always wear boots, pants, jackets, gloves, everything. For this reason, on this day, my friend just said, hey, I got to show you my property, real estate thing in Sedona. I'm just cruising on my bike. I always wear a helmet, but I got cut off by this tourist who is not from here, doesn't know the road rules and regulations, just literally illegally made a super illegal left turn into oncoming traffic. Whether it was a horse, a bike, a car, it happened to have been me. I freaking clipped the back of his car, tried to dodge it, nearly killed, and I almost lost my life, or I could have been seriously hospitalized, totaled out my Hypermotard. It was just a huge shock for me coming back to the United States. I just got my Pikes Peak ready, and now my new Hypermotard I'm supposed to race with in the AMA Supermoto series just got totaled. And it was just this big freaking shock for me. And, I like to, take signs from all different angles of whether I shouldn't be doing things like that. But just lost my Hypermotard. Luckily for me, a friend has the same bike. It was the RVE Hypermotard, which you guys saw me riding and documenting with the full Turbo system. He said, bro, I see what's happening to you. He's like, just lend me the Pikes Peak while you use my bike so you could complete, your deliverables for OnlyFans and race the Supermoto, which I did. during that time with the Pikes Peak, obviously I have a new motor, so I was doing the break-in miles. Not even with under 600 or 700 break-in miles, I bring the bike back to the dealership to get the first oil change and service done. And the mechanic says, hey man, the whole bottom part of your motor where the magnesium engine cover goes to the bottom of the motor is leaking oil. So the gasket that the magnesium part to the new motor was not fitted correctly, and it was pissing and leaking oil everywhere while I was breaking in the miles, and the motor had to be ripped out again, flipped upside down, removed, ordered new parts, and then reassembled back together. So for me, that was just like, it was like a sign for I need to trade the bike and get a new bike. I just don't want to have a bike that's going to keep being troublesome, even though it's a brand new motor. It's a Cray motor from Italy. And I mean, nothing against anyone at the mechanics. I go to Go Easy Peoria and work with Jason because he is a sound Ducati mechanic. He takes his time. It honestly took my bike so much longer just because he did it, but I wanted it to be done right, and he did it right. But there was just a problem from the motor from the factory, the crate motor from the factory. That put my bike out for another 4 or 5 months. Like, I just didn't have it. And then so I've been like bikeless since then. And during that transition, I'm like, okay, how am I going to get a new bike? Which bike am I going to get? Will it be, you know, the RS, which is what I obviously really wanted because it's just like the racier version of the Pikes Peak, but it cost way more. So the RS is like $38,000 out the door out the door with taxes, probably spending like 42, and the new Panigale V4S, $33,000 out the door, maybe like 35. And so it was just more in my budget. I'm just trading this bike in, financing it. I'm doing different things. I just can't buy the bikes outright right now. I'm just still in that stage in my life. But it was just, it was a different transition, and I wanted to just be more relevant with what I'm doing. And I've already experienced so much with the Multistrada Pikes Peak. Now I want to try something a little bit new. So I shopped literally around the nation for a V4S, and I wasn't able to find any good deals other than with Pro Italia, where I'm going to right now in California with Shaheen. I met him at Chuckwalla, and I saw him ride the new V4S, and he just told me that it was amazing. It was just so much easier, and I feel like I could really, you know, sport tour this bike in Arizona and California, and still be able to, you know, be comfortable and have a nice bike. And then so yeah, that's the reason why I decided to go for the V4S Panigale instead of the RS. It's just because of the price difference and also the new benefits of the technology on the Panigale V4S, you know, with the new mono swing arm, with the new subframe, with the new everything, all the electronics. I just really want to geek out and make all this really cool, engaging, and amazing content for you guys. That way you have like a really good feel of this bike and see what it could do on road and off road as well. So pretty much wrapping up, that's why I'm on my way and got the Pikes Peak in the back and heading to the guys at Pro Italia, and we're gonna swap it out. I'm gonna do some rides up there and then head back to Phoenix. But I think there are many new features on the Panigale V4S that I could resonate with, and I also really want to document this to show you guys all the benefits of, you know, why you should ride a supermoto and a sport touring bike, and then obviously a super bike in terms of riding abilities and styles, and having all that translate over. I think I'm going to be able to ride the Panigale V4S a lot better and safer and faster just due to my riding skill of riding supermotos and, you know, sport touring bikes, because it's easier to translate those abilities and skills onto a sport bike versus the other way around. So I'm just really excited to like give you guys my feedback and be like, God, this bike's amazing. You could also buy and sport tour it as well as track it, or it's gonna be, you know, XYZ and super uncomfortable, which I don't think is the case because I've already sat on it and I've only heard good things. I've only heard that it's smoother, it's better. Like, they made it faster for the track, but they also made it more lenient for the road. You know, you have all these settings you can play with, and I'm getting the S version with electronics adjustable suspension, which I can't wait to tune and make like a super soft version for like the bumpy roads in Phoenix and Arizona, but then also a nice tight track version as well. So that's why I made this decision. RS was just a little too out of my budget, but then the Panigale V4S is just such a new bike, and they completely changed everything that it just appealed to me, and I want to be able to do and try all those new features and settings on the bike. So thanks for watching this part 1 video on why and getting the Panigale V4S. I just had to go down that rabbit hole and tell you everything that pretty much happened to me this year. And love you all. Ride safe. 2025 is going to be great. I mean, 2024 was awesome, but just as intense, you know, especially when you get in a motorcycle accident. I know many of you probably have, and some walked away and many didn't, which is sad. And you just got to be cautious, man. I mean, everyone here has a phone. They got tablets in their car. They're like not paying attention, you know. Like I see more and more racers like being like, nope, not riding on the road, just hear too many things, and so many people are just not aware. So God bless you all. Ride safe, and you know, I hope to bring you guys really cool new content with the Panigale V4S this winter in Arizona, and I'll be riding with the DROC in California doing track days, as well as the Ducati Phoenix Owners Group here in Arizona. And yeah, just super stoked. And thank you guys for all the love and support, and I hope to do more cool videos like this. And thanks for listening to like my story on why I'm changing this bike. So, all right, California traffic, gotta pay attention. Pro Italia, here I come.